Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter, and this is James.
Hello.
And today we're talking about Volume 12 of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. This volume starts right where the previous one ended, with Frieren finding herself in the past during the time that she spent with Himmel and Heiter and Eisen. And they run into a demon called Zart, and they defeat him, and after that Frieren tells her party that she came here from the future when she touched the monument of the goddess. So the objective becomes to help Frieren get back to the future. Do 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 do.
Back to the future.
But anyway, after multiple failed attempts at finding the information that they need to get Frieren back to her time, they finally come up with a solution. But as they're making their way back to the monument of the goddess, they're attacked by Solitaire, Rivale, and Grausam, some other demons. Well, Solitaire we definitely know since before. But the demon Grausam puts them under his hypnosis, which makes them get stuck in their happiest dreams. And the volume ends there with Himmel dreaming that he's getting married to Frieren. Very sweet. Very cute.
No, it's not. It's a terrible cliffhanger. Hate it. No, I mean, I love it, but I hate it.
That's fair.
That's
a fair emotion. But yeah, this was a very fun volume, I thought. Like, it was so nice getting to spend all this time with the heroes party, and I felt like I got to know all of them in ways that I hadn't thought that I would have the pleasure of doing, you know.
Yeah.
And as the way it looks like, we're not even done with them yet. Like, it's gonna go at least to some extent into the next volume as well, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah, it's nice to get this look into their or snippet into their journey besides just flashbacks. You know, we're actually in the moment, and I think that's nice. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
Something I thought about when I read this was that last time you said that you thought that this past thing would only be about 2 chapters, and I thought it would be like one full volume, but then as we were kind of talking, we kind of landed in like, okay, maybe half a volume. I think we both kind of thought that seemed reasonable. But yeah, no, like this is like over, like more than a volume even. So like I that was a very pleasant surprise to me.
I had meant to bring that up, but I actually forgot when I was taking my notes. But yes, you're right. I definitely eat crow on that one. I was way off, thinking it was only like 2 chapters or so.
But I thought it was funny also because you were able to like drag my prediction down a little bit, like because I was at a full volume, and then I was like, maybe half a volume is good.
I'm sorry.
No, but no,
I don't
this
know.
is.
For some reason, it didn't seem like it would be a huge arc. Well, huge-ish. I didn't think it would be a whole volume worth. So
right.
yeah, I mean, it's I'm glad we got what we did. To be honest.
Nice.
Even though I will say it's not the most eventful volume until you get to the very end. Well, like the last 3 or 4 chapters, I think things really start to pick up. But it is very much a typical Frieren journey, for the most part. Besides just her being in the hero party again.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's funny how kind of seamless it felt. Like it's very much the same type of appeal still, just with a different crew.
All right, well, let's just go on a journey.
Yeah. The feeling that this may not have felt like a longer arc, as we were teased on it the last volume, but now it seems like maybe it'll turn out to something long. Obviously, there may not be much more of it, but there may be still. I mean, it's unclear.
There could be.
Either way, I do feel like the story has moved, like slowly but steadily, into doing more kind of semi-long arcs. Like early on in the manga, it never did anything like that. Like at most, it would be something like a volume, or sometimes not even like just short of a volume, long arcs. But like lately, I feel like we've been treated to some longer story arcs. Like obviously, the Golden Land arc was long, and this one is longer than we expected it to be. So I think that's a fun change that this story is moving into. I guess a formula of making longer arcs, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of reminds you of a Kaguya-sama if you think about
Oh
it.
yeah, that is a little bit of a similarity actually. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Well,
Yeah.
well then let's talk about Frieren first. I had a little bit of a roller coaster of thoughts for something regarding her in this volume because on numerous occasions she kind of refrained from doing certain things out of fear that it would change the history or impact the future somehow.
Hmm.
And at first I thought it would, well, that she was kind of having those thoughts sort of in vain. Like I thought that she wasn't gonna be able to change anything because I expected the time travel mechanics here to be that the past already happened basically, so that way she's making it happen in this instance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like
see where you're taking it.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah, like I
Hmm.
didn't think that she could have changed the future because her actions were already determined in some way. But then obviously closer to to the end of the volume, the fact that they can just seemingly bypass having to decode the chapter about the time traveling bird,
Hmm.
like the fact that they can just do that, I think implies that there was an alternate timeline, or like that we haven't gotten to see, like that we probably will never get to see, where Frieren did stay like for decades or maybe longer.
Oh, I disagree.
Or then where would they have gotten the decoded things from?
They did it themselves. Heiter and them, they decoded it themselves over their lifespan. And then eventually they went back to the monument and wrote it down. That's what Himmel promised, at least.
Oh, that works. Probably less convoluted. Yeah. I guess the only thing that might be slightly like might not add up with that, although I probably like that more than what I said still. But like I believe last time they said that it looked like the inscription had been there for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess it still could have been. So
It still could
that's
have been.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the way it should be read. Um
I forgot to look at the past volume, but do you remember was the monument in Frieren's memory when she touched the monument and nothing happened? Do you remember if it broke after she touched it or it was still intact? It was still intact, wasn't it?
I'm quite sure it was still intact. Plus
Okay.
when Solitaire is standing in front of it near the end of the volume, I think it's also still intact.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is, in this fight that ends the volume,
Mm,
could it have broken? But I think it must have just worn over time. Something else must have happened.
right.
I'm assuming.
Or maybe it'll break in the continuation of the fight in the next volume.
Well, I have something on that in when it comes to predictions. So
Gotcha.
look forward to
We'll wait
that.
for that then. But yeah, okay, then thank you for your insight. And I think with that in mind, I'll probably stick with my original thought about how the time travel mechanics works here. That it is like a predetermined thing because she can't change things because they already happened.
When you say predetermined, I think that when you're not okay, I can't comment unless I talk about predictions. So I'm just gonna save it. I'll just save it.
Yep.
So okay,
All right, all right.
you're back to that mindset.
Yeah,
That's
like my original
I
mindset.
can mostly agree with that. Yeah. Hmm.
Well, yeah, because she already acted in a way that caused the future to become what it was for the similar reasons that she, well, for this, well, because this is the same, I believe this is the same timeline as everything else. I don't think there's any branching timelines or anything like that going on in this
Hmm.
instance here. So
Hmm.
what's happening already technically happened from the present day's
Mm.
point of view. So,
Hmm.
well, predetermined might be a cynical way of expressing it, but it did already happen, so it is determined to happen in some way. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
um, moving on.
Talking about that kind of, it was interesting seeing her adapt to the past magic and remembering, oh yeah, I can't use this,
Yeah,
I can't use that. Oh, this is how we used it, 80 or so years ago. Um,
yeah,
it's yeah, it was really fun to see her kind of do mental gymnastics in that way, and it was mostly in the beginning part of the volume before the party knew that she was from the future.
yeah.
But even later on, she has to kind of control how much of her modern magic she uses, particularly with demons around. So it was an interesting inhibitor
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
for her. And I liked it.
definitely. Frieren also, she didn't used to be this good of a team player. So it's nice
Yeah,
to, I think, for us to understand how much she has grown when it comes to that. But it's also nice, I think, for her former party members to get to, well, to get a glimpse of what Frieren would go on to become, or like how the ways that she
yeah.
would end up improving and growing, and how, yeah, she would continue to grow even after they were gone. So they got the chance to see that. I think that's nice.
It took nearly 100 years, but she changed.
Yeah, I mean, every little bit counts.
uh,
Slowly but
but I
steadily.
agree with you. It was really, I mean, and kind of going along with that as well. It was really nice to me that they gave Fearin a chance to appreciate the moment with the hero party,
Yeah,
knowing it won't last forever. Like before, she just kind of went on the journey in 10 years. I mean, that's like a week or so for her. It's not that long. Maybe a month. I don't know,
mm,
but now knowing what she's learned and that her time with them is going to be so brief, she was, I think, able or is currently kind of enjoying the moment and reminiscing and not taking for granted the time she has with them. I at least that's the feeling I got.
definitely same here. Yeah, yeah, and I think that's. I mean, overall, that is. I think one of the kind of cores of the story as a whole. Um, but it definitely becomes very prominent now that she actually gets to
That's true.
literally be with them. But yeah, it's
That's
awesome.
true.
I think another really nice thing was how Frieren got a chance to tell Himmel how much he has encouraged her.
Yeah.
And I think if Frieren will get to talk to Himmel's spirit or whatever when they reach Ende, like probably much later on, um,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it could possibly expand on this type of interaction between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously that
Yeah.
was very brief in this volume, like that little comment.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for something well, a little bit more of an interaction along those types of lines, basically.
Right. I mean, you can't give it away, in the middle of the story. You got to wait.
Uh huh.
You got to wait for it.
For sure.
But I do like the little tease there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I also love how proud. It is more of a silly thing. I love how proud she is to tell him about her growth and then also her apprentice.
Yeah.
And I have an apprentice. Uh, is
Oh.
just very uh, proud of herself and almost like praise me
Right.
kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
It's very
Yep,
nice.
I really, I mean, I kind of doubt that this story is going to be one where we bring back the dead and Himmel's suddenly alive again. I mean, I think that would certainly be a great ending for people, and the ship lives or something like that. But I I I, I don't see that happening.
No,
Um, but I think that the best we can get is you know her really expressing her feelings and just everything of what Himmel and the party meant to her at Journey's End
for sure.
or End, I guess you
Yes, yes. Well. Although, well, I don't want to. Well, I definitely think the Heroes Party meant a lot to Frieren. Like, I'm not denying that at all. Um,
Uh-huh.
and so it is hard to compare, I guess, and maybe I shouldn't do this comparison, but I'm still kind of getting the impression that Frieren has a stronger bond to Fern and Stark than she probably ever had to the hero's
Mm.
party as a whole. Just
Oh, as a whole. Yeah,
based on the way she's
yeah.
talking about things
Uh-huh.
with them in this volume, I get the feeling that she'd rather be with Fern and Stark than with them.
Yeah, I mean there's various factors into it. She can't use her full power. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also, they're younglings and they need her.
Yeah.
Even though they're both kind of freaks of nature in their own way.
Yeah.
But they need her, or at least she believes so. And
Hmm.
and she has a place where she really belongs, and she didn't really have that for a long time, and didn't realize she had that when she was with the hero party.
Right.
But I think I do agree with you that overall I think she has become more attached to her current party, her with Fern and Stark, versus um, the memory she has of the hero party. That being said, I wonder about her feelings for Himmel. I mean,
Hmm.
I guess it's the partly the helpless romantic in me is like maybe those feelings are stronger, but I also wouldn't be surprised if her feelings for say Fern and kind of being almost a motherly figure to her
Hmm.
is stronger. But
Right.
anyway, I totally see what you're saying.
Right, yeah, yeah. Well, because there definitely is like the whole like she feels like she belongs with Fern and Stark. I think was established in one of the
Yeah.
scenes in this volume,
Right.
in a
Oh
way
yeah.
that I don't think she
Absolutely.
feels quite with the Heroes Party.
Maybe. Maybe not not in the same way.
Right, but well, about Himmel, I think she has definitely like started like over time to realize more and more how much he meant to her.
Hmm.
But I don't know if I necessarily read that as romantic still. Um,
Hmm.
for from Freeren's perspective. Like
Hmm.
it definitely could be, but I don't know if it's necessarily romance or
Hmm.
romantic.
Yeah. Do you think that the scenes where it's always had this undertone of romance, like the ring and the flowers and things like that? Do you think that obviously Himmel is is kind of not pushing it, but he's putting the hints out there.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but do you think she is ignoring those? Because I guess what I'm trying to say is that I feel like we're getting to the point where she might be realizing that she has those feelings eventually. Because I think at the very beginning of the story, she had no idea why she was crying
Yeah.
for Himmel's death. And I think at this point of the story, I think there's an inkling she understands why,
Uh,
but we're not completely there yet.
right. I mean, at the very least, like as she told him, Himmel has encouraged her. Like she feels like she's been encouraged by him. So there's at
Hmm.
least that.
Yeah,
Um,
and going back to our discussion about meeting his spirited end, I think that it would be quite satisfying if she comes to understanding that it truly was romantic love, and that would kind of give us the satisfaction of having a different type of interaction compared to her going to the past and saying, "Hey, you encouraged me. Thanks for being a good friend." You know, um,
yeah.
but I personally think that is part of the end game is that there is going to be some sort of I'm not saying like confession or anything like that, but there is going to be kind of this you know romantic thing. Like I kind of believe there'll be some sort of embrace in a way. I'm not saying like
Hmm.
death kiss or spiritual ghost kiss or anything like that. You know,
Fair,
not to
fair.
go Patrick Swayze here, but um, yeah. So I think that's just my thinking. So I guess I'm somewhat surprised that you don't feel that same way. But it's fine. I just didn't think that we felt differently.
Yeah, I don't think we really talked too much about about this topic in depth, really. I
Yeah.
think because of that, I haven't really had a chance to really think about it too
Hmm.
or all that much.
Well, I'm curious what listeners would say if people who comment would love to hear you guys' thoughts on
Definitely.
this whole dynamic between Himmel and Frieren and what Frieren truly feels or what she will come to understand, etc., etc. Because it does seem to be something that's up for debate.
Right. And I think that even if she isn't uh, feeling any romantic feelings for Himmel currently, I think she could still reach that at some point,
Yeah.
as she continues to relive her memories and whatnot.
Uh huh. I guess the question is, will she or will she not?
Yeah. And on that question, I'm quite torn.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But anything else on Free Rent?
I just love how we've seen how much she's grown. I think we said that earlier, but I just want to
Yeah. No,
emphasize
it's
it. She
awesome.
has grown, unless anybody thinks differently.
Yeah, I mean, well, there are instances where it looks like she hasn't. Like, she still falls for the mimic traps and whatnot, but
That was hilarious, by the way.
that was
I mean,
fun.
such perfectly timed.
Yeah, no, but
Well
like,
said.
she definitely has grown.
Yeah, I mean, look, growth doesn't mean that you change everything. It just means that you've, at least in a good sense, you've improved in certain aspects that you were maybe not great at before.
Mhm. And Frieren has absolutely done that.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Cool. Then next, let's talk about Himmel. And since we were talking about the idea of romance and whatnot, let's continue about that, but on Himmel's side a little bit. Well, because something that I really wanted to comment on, and which I like it, I think it's beautiful and heartbreaking kind of at the same time, is
Hmm.
Himmel's undying love for Frieren, and I think that makes him such a kind of a tragic character. It's like
Mm,
he somehow I think he somehow understood that Frieren, or at least that the Frieren that he knew, wasn't ready for romance, so he probably never made any real moves uh, on that front, despite his strong feelings for her.
hmm.
And I think, yeah, it's just a little bit sad to think about, but also like, yeah, it's also kind of sweet.
Yeah, he could slay the Demon King, but he couldn't slay the baddie. Just too bad.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. It is quite tragic in that way, and I think it ties to kind of the almost, I don't want to say inhuman, but the unique circumstance or unique personality that Frieren and maybe all elves have in terms of love and intimacy and whatnot.
Mm.
Um, yeah, the whole humanity thing we talked about it before, but it's still kind of a blur as you know how much elves are human compared to humans, and
Right.
and yet they are considered humanity when it comes to compared to demons and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's all interesting. But point is, obviously Himmel is fighting an uphill battle, and potentially will definitely lost that said battle.
Mm.
But I'm curious if if we ever find out if Himmel, I guess, stayed single his entire life, or he end up actually having a family.
Right.
It's not really confirmed. I mean, he for sure didn't have uh, any sort of family with him, from what we could see towards his death, or when Frieren visited him.
Yeah.
But you never know, I
Right.
guess.
As far as we know, none of the Party Heroes members had kids, or like we
Well,
did.
Heiter better not have. I don't think he's really allowed to. I mean, I don't know how it works in
Oh,
this
that
world, but
gotcha. Yeah, I don't know.
usually usually they're not. I
But
mean, it
yeah,
depends, but yeah. So that is interesting. So I don't know if we knew this before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but him and Heiter come from the same orphanage. in the same town. They're kind of
Precisely.
childhood friends.
Yeah, yeah. As far as I know, we didn't know that before. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice.
He became the hero because people, aka Heiter, doubted him.
Yeah.
um, but I kind of, I mean, so when you meet people like that in real life, it is somewhat annoying, like because hear me out. So sometimes there are people who won't do things even though they say they will, but then when you say, "But you're not gonna get it done," even though you say it, then they'll actually do it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Those people kind of annoy me. Um, but you know how to push their buttons. And am I that kind of person? Sometimes, maybe. No. But in the case of Himmel, I don't know. And I guess most stories, I kind of like it when, or it is endearing when the doubt is poured upon them, and makes them even more passionate and determined to fulfill their dreams.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, but that was a nice scene that they had together when they were talking in the what may have been another orphanage.
Hmm. Hmm.
Another thing on the two of them is I liked how Himmel questioned Heiter when he wanted to know, well, whether or not they would successfully defeat the Demon King, because Himmel saw no reason for learning that, as they'd want to kick the Demon King's ass anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they got to do it, right?
Yeah, they got it. Somebody's got it.
I guess really the last thing for me on Himmel is just how dare they end on that note?
Oh yeah.
That dream of him marrying Frieren. I mean, gosh.
Yeah.
Uh, could you imagine like seeing that? That like that last page. That's the last, or that's spoiled to you, and so you see that page. Whoa! Like, what could you possibly think? Like, oh, is this end game? Or like, what is happening? And then you get to this point. It's like, dang it!
Oh man, oh, that would be funny, but also
I guess that's
pretty
a
bad.
hypothetical situation.
Right, that's funny though.
But anyway, no, I mean, look, I like it in terms of the tease and the the sadness of it all. But I feel for Himmel because I have no doubt they'll get out of this.
Right. Oh yeah.
For all we know, Frieren could just totally not know about this whatsoever. It could be very likely.
Yeah.
But it's just another one of those things where Himmel's unrequited love just grows or just continues to be unknown.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah, like it's only happening within his head, so like this shouldn't affect Frieren as far as I know, or as far as I'm aware.
Unless they share the same dream.
Oh, that would be interesting. But yeah, and like on the topic of whether they'll make it out of this, obviously, of course they will, and even going back to my speculation of like this being in one way or another kind of predetermined, they definitely will, because they did, like they did make it all the way to the Demon King, and
the story doesn't
they
end
killed
here.
him.
Yeah, I promise you that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess with that we can talk a little bit about Heiter.
Yeah, I like the line where he says, "I may not have faith in myself, but I believe in Himmel the hero."
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that felt like a very priestly thing to say. Maybe you argue as a priest, like he's putting his faith in in the wrong person. He should be putting his faith in the goddess or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I think it's one of those mindsets where I'm an imperfect human being, or I'm not necessarily a great person, but or capable, but I have all the faith in the person I believe in.
For sure. It reminded me of don't believe in yourself, believe in the me that believes in you.
I think it's one step below that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Get on Shimon's game. But I also like, as we alluded to, that he kind of had to grow to that. He doubted, definitely doubted Himmel at first, but Himmel kept proving him wrong, and to eventually where he felt like he had to apologize to Himmel about it. And
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's just something you say to get off your chest, but I appreciate that he's able to humble himself and apologize and say how much he trusts him, and
Hmm.
you know is glad that he's here there with him.
Yeah, I love that scene.
It was really good.
It was very like I love how kind of vulnerable it was in a way that I didn't really think I'd see from Heiter.
Yeah. And then I guess I just want to touch on the scriptures a bit since he is the priest.
Hmm?
Um, Only 3% had been discovered at that time.
Yeah.
I'm curious how much has been revealed in the present day.
Yeah, I wondered the same thing.
Heiter says it takes like 20 or 30 years or so to find like a new spell. But you never know. Sometimes the future holds greater achievements and advances in discovery. I don't. I was about to say science, but it's not really science per se. But maybe there's science involved. I don't know. But that can speed up the process. So maybe it's much more than that. I'd say if you're at 15%, that'd be a pretty big jump.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm.
But there's no there's no way for sure saying that. And technically, it's only been like 80 years or so, so maybe it wouldn't have been that large. But still, I'm curious if we'll get any sort of indication of that percentage.
Yeah,
Um, just fun lore building.
definitely. We'll keep our eyes open for that.
And then one other thing about the scriptures that he mentions the goddess writings were established 1,500 years ago. How old is Frieren again? I think we're assuming like she would have been alive for when those scriptures were established, right?
Oh.
She's at least 1,000, at potentially 1,500 years.
Precisely. Well, wasn't it when those scriptures were starting to be researched by humans?
Oh,
So the scriptures existed before that, or
well, let's see.
maybe I'm wrong.
In the 1,500 years since the world was blessed with the holy scriptures of the goddess, there's been nothing. Sounds to me that 1,500 years ago is when they got the holy scriptures. Now, I think that could mean a couple things. Where
Yeah.
it's not necessarily that it was only like 1,000 years ago that the goddess was on the earth or whatever they believe, but more so they compiled the scriptures, the writings together into one scriptures that had all the ciphers. I think that's probably more likely.
Yeah, could have been that.
Especially considering it seems like this divine magic is actually real.
I mean, for sure, right? Definitely. Yeah, like it could be a lot of different things that means. I like the way I thought about it initially was that they kind of discovered them or kind of rediscovered them, like they found them in some archaeology site or something, and kind of discovered it for the first time in a long, long, long time, or something like that.
I mean, it wouldn't be a book though,
True, true. It could have been like on written in stone or something, and they kind of
Right.
transcribed it onto paper, or like maybe there was someone 1,500 years ago who got a vision from the goddess or something,
Oh, that's yeah, that's very very possible.
and wrote down the goddess's texts, kind of channeling the goddess's
Yeah.
scriptures, potentially.
That'd be very interesting. I'd be curious to hear about that prophet. Well,
Yeah,
or I guess you would call them prophet in that case.
I guess some kind of prophet. Yeah,
Not having thought about that potential, but that is definitely a strong possibility. Although I will say that collecting scriptures or finding the old writings and putting them together into one is probably more similar to how the Bible was formed and everything.
right.
Either way, with that time frame, putting Frieden aside, Sedie, or however you pronounce her name, should have been alive for that. And so I wonder if she has any sort of I kind of doubt hand, but maybe perspective on all that. And I'm curious with her kind of magic hoarding you know, spell knowledge, would she have any sort of understanding of divine magic or the just the goddess scriptures in general? So I don't know, just something
Mm,
I was thinking of when taking notes.
yeah. I would think she probably does know at least some stuff of it.
At least like the
But
establishment of that all that.
um,
I mean,
right.
it's possible that the religion was around before then, but I I, I do feel like if you have a religion, you kind of need holy text to help.
Yeah. Well,
I don't
not
know.
necessarily. I think the Norse old Norse religion was like they didn't have like written
They had no sort of
stuff.
no written
It was
stuff,
all just kind of oral tradition.
but they had stories and tells
They
and
had
things like
stories,
that.
but they were yeah oral stories.
Yeah, I guess there's no way for me to know for sure based on what we have here. But anyway,
Hmm.
just it was very interesting to hear those little tidbits. Uh, I
Yeah,
I'm not expecting to hear a lot going forward, um, but it you know it would be interesting to know more about the goddess and how the divine magic works and everything.
I agree. Like really, the way that the magic system has been presented throughout the series, I love it so much. Like I know there's a lot of kind of gaps. We don't know several details about things, but it still really intrigues me whenever we do get to learn some things here and there.
Yeah,
It's very neat.
agreed.
But that's all on that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I just want to talk about Eisen real quick.
Yes.
I know not a whole lot was given about with him, but it's always funny to see his indestructibility.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah, right. It's just taking taking stabs with spears and just breaking them off his body.
Yeah, and it's
It's great.
falling so far, just like
Oh,
leaving
that
a
too. And he's
crater in
just
the
like on the ground.
ground.
He's like, I feel like we need to change our approach or whatever he says.
Yeah, he's like just
Pretty funny.
totally unscathed.
Um,
Uh,
but it's up. We got a little bit of lore about the dwarves of this world. Apparently, they don't all live in caves, uh, which it's like a stereotype that humans have against dwarves or something,
yeah.
or assumption. But no, they live in normal villages, which I think at the I was unsure about his family that died. I guess for some reason I was unsure if he was actually raised by dwarves or humans. I don't know, but
Ah,
I think it had to be dwarves, obviously, even though they were living above ground in like in a typical village. So
right.
I don't know why I didn't think that was possible or something. I guess I
Ah.
have stereotypes and biases against the dwarves that I need to fix.
Yeah. Hey, but hey, the first step is to become aware of these biases or
Right.
stereotypical thoughts.
Yeah.
Then we can work on them.
Yeah. I'll get there. I'll get there. Um, and then lastly, just I guess just the funny things when they, him was talking about we've had good and bad times, and he's just like, we had good times,
Yeah.
bruh.
He's so funny. Uh,
All right.
then let's talk a little bit about Kiesel, the dwarf who coincidentally made Himmel's sword. His name means pebble in German.
Funny.
Yeah. But yeah, that I don't really have much on him except I thought he was nice. He was cool.
Yeah, I like the little story with the fake hero sword.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah, and it kind of it became real in a way.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, they both forced it to be, or kind of manifested it
Right.
to be the case.
So that's very nice. But yeah, next I figured we could talk about the various demons that were relevant in this volume.
Ooh.
And well, first of all, I'll just kick off a little bit on the Demon King himself. He wasn't in the volume, but he was mentioned, and I
Yes.
I don't think we knew before that the Demon King ruled for over 1,000 years, which is a really long time. And
Yeah.
I think knowing that now, it just makes the feat of the hero's party that they were able to bring him to an end makes that feat even greater than I thought it was initially.
Yeah. Remind me, and not that I'm doubting you, but remind me where it's at 1,000 years again.
It was relatively early in the volume. Oh, here.
Oh, early in the volume. Oh, okay.
Page 47. At the top of page 47.
Okay. Okay. Demon King has reigned over all demons for more than a millennium.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Whew. Yeah. Well, and considering how Frieren is definitely over 1,000 years old, it makes sense. I mean, considering what happened to the elves,
Right.
because of the Demon King and what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Yeah. He was more so in mention, but he was very wary of the time traveling or what he felt to be time traveling, and he didn't like that one bit. So I guess he just sent people to check it out. And
Right.
interestingly, we see again a connection between him and Solitaire. So I thought that was interesting to see more of, almost like best buds in a way.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's the best buds because I don't think demons have those kind of relationships. But
That's fair. Yeah.
it seemed like she was kind of repeating what had been told to her. So.
Right. It seemed that way, yeah. But before we move on to kind of what was happening at the end of the book, let's talk a little bit about Zart, the Remnant, as he is also titled. Zart or Zart means tender, delicate, or gentle in German, which is kind of ironic. And yeah, he teleports stuff and is the servant of Grausam.
I guess that's a gentle, tender way of killing someone by teleportation.
I guess comparatively, yeah.
You're not getting your hands dirty. You're just lifting giant objects on someone or making them fall from tremendous heights.
Yeah.
It's gravity that does the dirty work.
Precisely. Yeah, Zard is totally innocent. But yeah, then there was the group of demons that appeared at the end of this volume. Solitaire made a comeback, her name obviously meaning solitary.
Did not think that.
Grausam, whose name means cruel. Rivale means rival, pretty straightforward. And I guess that could come of him being Eisen's rival in a way, or becoming Eisen's rival in this volume to some extent. And Tot, whose name means dead. I know Tot's name had been mentioned at some point before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
But we had never seen her.
Forgot about it.
The others, well, Rivale, I can't remember if we hadn't seen him, but I don't know if we had heard the name or not. And Grausam we had seen briefly, right? At some point?
I feel like we did.
Or am I making that up?
He
At least I recognize the name.
No. I think we saw him in a flashback with
Mach? No.
Mach.
Or Schlacht?
Yeah, Mach
Schlacht.
and well, Schlacht was there.
Right.
But I think it was Mach's memories or something or other. And yeah, Gaussam was in the back, like he was keeping watch of Mach so that nothing happened or something.
I think so too.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Right. And well, out of these, I guess I'll start with Tot because that's really the only one that I have notes on personally. Tot doesn't really care about the Demon King nor about survival of the demon race as a whole. She just wants to survive herself and continue to pursue magic, which is, seems comparatively nice for being a demon, I guess, as far as we know right now. But she does apparently have a curse in play that will cover the entire planet in about a century or so. So that could be in present day from now, or from where Frieren is right now. So that's something that I'm expecting very interesting, whatever that is.
Yeah. She must have an arc or so or something.
I hope so.
I almost thought that maybe she could be at End because she's called the Saint of the End. So maybe she's at Enda.
Oh.
But the fact that she doesn't care about the Demon King kind of gives me pause and to say, why would she be at the Demon King's castle? So it's like, So I don't know. But yeah, the Saint at the end is pretty ominous, and
Yeah.
it it does make me think her curse is pretty substantial and makes you wonder what it could be at 30%. I mean, maybe
Hmm.
it's not really truly affecting anything at that point, but
Oh yeah.
maybe it'll start to kick in sometime in the present.
I think it definitely
Uh,
will, and I think it'll reach
it
100%,
has to, yeah,
or at least nearly
yeah,
100% if it's not going to get stopped like just before reaching 100% or something.
right,
Um,
right.
but yeah, yeah, that is very exciting.
She says she's no good at fighting and likes to pursue magic. Like, is this demon Frieren? Like what?
Right, yeah, I was thinking about that as well. um, but it's also like, she doesn't like fighting, but one of the other demons made the comment after she left that her fight is in the future or something like that. So I guess she will still have to fight her or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it deals with this curse, and so she has to make sure she's alive for the curse to reach 100%. So,
Yeah,
um, but it does make you wonder if she indeed does have, if there's a plan for her from the Demon King or whatever. And even though she doesn't care about the Demon King, she, I guess, was created for this purpose. So
oh yeah.
I don't know. I guess there's that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's yeah most of what I have on Tot. What did you
Uh,
say? How do you say your game?
Tot, I
Tot.
think, would be like
Tot. Okay.
I think the German.
Tot.
But yeah, any other demons that you want to go into?
Oh yeah. I guess since I don't have too much on Vale, or how do you say his name again?
Rivale, or well, technically it would be like Rivale, but
Oh well, Vale. Um, I don't know. I mean, I respect the, burly, physical, strong warrior that he is.
for sure.
A good match for Eisen, so I'm curious to see how that battle ends. It would be
Yeah.
interesting if, by the end of it he's still alive, but I wouldn't necessarily count on him appearing in the present. Maybe he's an enemy that they fight later on. Although Frieren never mentioned or didn't say something about recognizing him, I don't think. So
Yeah.
yeah, either he dies here or he survives and we don't see him until the present.
Right. I think it's nice that Rivale is kind of a physical fighter rather than a mage primarily.
Yeah,
Since I feel like, well, definitely not all, but a large portion of the big demons that we've had in the story have been mages.
yeah.
So I think this is a nice change of pace.
It's because they killed all the physical fighters,
Yeah, I guess
except
so.
for a couple.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's all on him. Grousum. Wait, okay. How do you say his name
Uh,
again?
Grausam, or well, it would be like, I guess in my best attempt at a German accent, Grausam, but
Grousum.
Grausam. Like you can do like, I think it's fair to do a regular, but to do an English R sound.
They call him the miraculous. I mean that's a generous name, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean what he does, I guess, is pretty miraculous, but it's not benevolent in whatsoever. He
Hmm.
specializes in hypnosis magic. What if he is someone in the story right now hiding among the humans as a
Ooh.
human? Ooh.
Oh. That's fun. That's very fun.
As to why he'd be doing that, give me a sec.
Uh-huh.
Um, but we don't know his real face either, and he
Right.
was like, "Hey, do you want me to show you my real face?" And I don't necessarily think that means we have to see his face. I think there are plenty of stories where there's masters of disguises who say, "Oh, this isn't what I actually look like," and we just never actually see it.
Mm.
But then there are other stories that we do. So I don't know which one this is, but I have a feeling it just kind of based on my feelings that Freeman will be able to return to the past. That it does seem like he's gonna die here, but I guess we never know, and maybe it's something on the brink of death or something.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want to talk about is Schlot's plan. If it's okay if I bring this up,
Of course.
so they, particularly Grausam and Solitar, mention Schlot had a plan, a 1,000-year plan, if you will, which seems like definitely playing the long game there. And I don't
Yeah.
know when this plan could have started. Could it have started, when the Demon King first came into power? Could it have started once the Demon King was dead? I'm not sure, or probably before the Demon King died. Because it seems it's implied that Schlott is dead. The reason why I say that is because Solitar says, who knows, he never talked that much about the future until the end.
Right. And he was killed by the hero of the South, wasn't he?
Oh, I thought he. Oh, did he? I thought Schlott killed the hero of the South.
Oh,
Wait, no, am
no,
I
you're probably
misremembering?
right. You're probably right. How did Schlacht die?
I don't think we know.
I've forgotten, or if we even
Well, or
knew.
maybe I'm wrong here. Well, I'm
No,
gonna
no, no, I could be wrong. um,
hero of the. I'm just type hero of the South. Maybe that would. Hopefully, no spoilers. Oh, so he managed to take down Slot before going down.
That's right.
So
So they took down each other.
yeah,
That's happened at this point, like or before this
yeah,
point. Yeah.
yeah. Forgot about that. So yeah, but
Um,
before he died, he was telling people, guys, look, I had visions of the future. Could blow your mind. And clearly, Frieren is part of that. And so we've kind of had hints of what this plan is ever since the Golden Era or the Golden Land arc.
mm,
So we're still seeing that being hinted at. So I definitely think that is going to happen in the future. And so I'm curious if Tolt is someone that is part of that plan,
mm.
or is Grousum part of that plan and maybe able to get away and is now currently hiding among humans in order to wait for some time. Now, what the end goal or whatever that plan entails, I'm going to save for predictions because I do have some predictions, but I just wanted to set the scene and
Gotcha.
just point out that definitely seems to be on the demon's mind at this point.
Well, if you would like, we could move into predictions right now.
Oh, I am ready.
Then tell me about those predictions that you were alluding to.
Yeah, let's start off with Shalot's 1,000-year plan.
Please do.
So I think the end goal is to bring back the Demon King. Uh, I really think there's no other great plan to implement or something that would be on a grand enough scale than other than bringing back the big bad. And we've had a chance to actually see him yet at all. And I think that would be such a great way to have him come back. Now, how do you beat him if he comes back? Well, I think it could show that humans' progression over the 80 or so years has been so advanced that even though you bring back the Demon King, they're able to conquer. Maybe not easily, but they're able to do it.
Mm.
Anyway, but that's what I think the plan is. I don't know exactly what it entails. I think it might have something to do with this time traveling magic. It could have something to do with some sort of divine spell that I don't know. I doubt demons would be able to use it, but maybe there's some sort of demon out there that can copy. I don't know, copy things. Point is, there's a plan, and
Yes.
I'm very curious to see what's in that plan. But I do think it will entail the reviving the Demon King.
That is very exciting. I don't know if I would, because I think, well, you haven't had this exact speculation before, but you have talked about the Demon King potentially returning, I think, before, right?
Yeah,
And I think maybe I have been a bit against that idea before. I'm
yeah,
not entirely
I do
sure.
remember
I
that.
may have been, but I think I'm starting to warm up to it. I'm liking the sound of this.
That's fair. Yeah, and I don't think the story needs to have it, but I think the fact that this plan has been, silently or just slowly teased, it needs to be something pretty epic and grand, and I think that would be
Yeah.
a great one. Um, I mean, it could also be just bringing back Sloth himself, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like would that be that that
Mm.
crazy?
Right. No, but
Anyway,
like if you're a demon king who's ruled for over 1,000 years and you have allies who can see the future and all sorts of wacky powers. Like, I don't think it's a stretch that you'll be able to, well, make preparations for the fact that you will die, and you know that, and then being able to come back
Yeah.
at a later point in time. Like, yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's doable for someone known as the Demon King.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of predictions actually this time, other than like whatever I've sprinkled across the discussion so far. But
Mhm.
one thing that I do have is that Heiter mentioned an awakening spell in this volume when they were talking about
Yes.
the magic of the goddess. And I wonder if he'll be able
Mhm.
to somehow use that spell from within his dream to wake everybody up or something like that. I think
Ah,
if it's foreshadowing something like that,
maybe.
I think that could be neat.
Yeah. Do you think that awakening spell was the spell that Sign used to wake Frieren and them up with the plant and everything? Do you remember that? You remember what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I had almost forgotten about that, but yeah, that I
I
think
didn't
that
remember it till just now.
I think it definitely could be
But that
since
could be a
I
possibility.
mean he is a priest, and I think all priests specialize in the
Yeah.
goddess's magic, right? So
Right.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a very good
So
connection.
maybe, yeah. Maybe it makes another appearance here at the end of this arc.
Ooh,
Battle, at least.
I would love that. Please, it's time. It's time.
Oh, I was talking about the awakening spell, but sign, yes, sign would be good. I was talking about the awakening spell, but
Oh,
yes,
oh,
sign
oh.
sign appearing again would be
Right,
would
yeah,
be
yeah.
nice.
Precisely. Like I don't want to wait too long until like after Freedom returns to her time period. Not too long after that. Sign, please,
Yeah,
please, and thank you.
it's about time.
Uh, but yeah, yeah. uh, what else do you have?
You know how I was alluding to Grousum maybe potentially, and this is one of those ridiculous predictions. Grousum potentially hiding among humans. What if it's someone shocking, like something that we know, like land?
Oh no,
I,
no.
I don't know why. I don't know. I guess because he uses some sort of form of deception where he has these clones, but maybe he's just hypnotizing people into thinking that somehow.
Ah.
but that that's so far fetched. And I feel like there's no way that City wouldn't be able to pick up on him. I mean he was able to fool Furin for a bit, so
Right.
I guess maybe it's possible, but no, I think if it's someone, it has to be someone very minor. But
It would
again,
be, although Land isn't too like as he may be minor enough that he could be one. Not that I necessarily think that he is that, but I love the idea of it being someone that we've met.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's more so speculation than a prediction because I'm more so predicting that he is going to die, or at least you know not be able to continue the spell because in the end I think they will get out. Um, they will get to the monument, and my full prediction with that is return. Phoebe will return with no time passing. It'll be just like she had just touched it, very similar to how she felt earlier. But that past Freeman will also think that no time has passed. It'll be just as it has been, and so that obviously the hero's party will have had that memory, or at least the Himmel, Heiter, and Eisen will have that memory,
Hmm.
but Freeman have no clue, and they'll just go about their journey without ever telling her.
Right, exactly. I was thinking about that too. I think, yeah, most likely they'll just agree to just not talk about that week or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Um, so that's my thoughts on that. So based on that, I think you have to everything that's happening with this battle has to be taken care of. Maybe there's some damage. So like, what happened here? Or Freeman's like, what happened here? Like, I don't know. This must be I don't know something or other, and they just walk
Yeah.
away.
You know,
You know.
there's one thing I guess about this time travel thing that I am getting a little bit hooked up on now. It's that,
Okay.
well, I'm hoping that it is what I'm thinking, or that what I've been thinking that it is, like this kind of, single timeline thing where, the the past happens as it happens because it already happened or whatever. Um, but well, Frieren knows the spell because she saw it in the future. But
Wait,
right.
what? Sorry, what?
Well, the spell that she has to write on the
Oh yes, yeah,
monument,
yeah,
she knows
right.
it.
She knows the name. Yeah.
She knows,
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
because she saw it in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
And but it was written, the text that she saw in the future had been written supposedly by Himmel and those guys after they completed their big quest to take down the Demon King.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But supposedly by the end of this arc, Frieren will write that into the monument at
No,
this point in time. No?
no.
What then? What am I missing?
So here's the story of events. They after this dream, they'll touch the monument. Fear will go back to the present. The past Fear will return, and they'll just go about their business. Everything will play as it has. They defeat the Demon King. They go back to their initial city where they started, have the party and everything. Then they just go their separate ways. Frieren explores the world, and then I think among their other duties, I assume the three of them, Heiter and Himmel and Eisen, will study. Maybe not Eisen, but but they'll
Mm-hmm.
study the spell, and then eventually come to find out what that spell is. And when the time is right, they make the journey to the monument and write it down, and then come back.
Gotcha. But I thought part of the spell to get yourself back was to write it in the monument, but I guess that's not it. But then how?
No, I don't think that's
I
ever
I don't see.
confirmed because they don't know how the spell works. They just know the name of it. Other than they know they have to touch the monument.
So
That's it.
the spell is that Frieren touches the monument and says the word verbally.
No,
No?
no. I think that spell is to return. Like those words are to return. The
Right.
Just touching the monument takes you to the
Right.
past.
I meant that, like, that what she will most likely do by the end of this arc is that she will touch the monument while speaking those words.
Yeah,
Is that what you gotcha?
correct.
Okay. That makes sense. And then everything still makes sense that way. Yeah.
Good thing she has a good memory.
For sure. Yeah. This is fun. It does create a loop,
Yeah,
which is funny. Uh
it is a loop
but
for sure.
I like that. I like that.
And and as you mentioned, it's kind of a cynical way of looking at it. Whereas, well, she can't possibly mess up because it happens. But
Uh-huh.
I'm of the mindset where I think your choices still matter. You still have to make the right choices.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say, well, they're predetermined, maybe, but they're not predetermined to you in the moment.
For sure, for sure.
You have to eventually make those choices.
Right. I mean, because it was Freeren's choices in that moment that created the future that she experienced in the future. So, like, even though she made those choices from her perspective at a later point in time, it was still her choices earlier in time, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah. I'm not here to, like, argue against, like, the idea of free will or anything like that.
No, 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 not at all. I didn't.
Uh,
Yeah, I didn't want to do that either. But just yeah, just wanted to, I guess, talk about that
yes, no,
that concept.
for sure, and it is interesting. And thank you again for clearing my mind on that even further.
I mean,
uh,
I feel pretty strongly that's how it's supposed to be, but
yeah, no,
I
but I think that makes sense. I was just kind of hung up on thinking that it was in scripting the word in the stone that sparked the spell to bring you back to your original time period. But
yeah.
I guess most likely that's not the case, since it doesn't make as much sense if that's the case. Because then it would really be a paradox if
Right.
the inscription that Frieren saw in the future would have been written out by, say, Himmel, but then in this instance here, she would have been the one who wrote it several years before Himmel would have written it the way that she saw it. That would have created, like, branched timelines or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the case, and I hope that's not the case.
Mhm.
But yeah, awesome.
I guess the last thing I'll say is that Himmel himself says, after searching for many years, we'll carve the name of that spell onto the monument to get you back to the future. So just I think that
Yeah.
kind of states it right there. But
I guess it's still a bit unclear as to like how would Frieren currently know exactly how to utilize the spell. She knows the name of it, but does that mean that she knows how to actually perform the spell? I don't know.
yeah, that I'm not sure. I mean, it based on what they said the book said,
Yeah,
it seems just to be just say the name and you're good.
I guess so. Yeah,
But it does seem a little odd. But I guess to begin with, all they had to do was touch the monument to go into the past.
yeah.
Um, so well, I guess technically you have to touch it twice.
Right,
You
because
have to touch it
precisely.
in the past and then sometime in the future as well.
That's true. That's
So,
true. Yeah.
but anyway, so the one last prediction I have is somewhat minor, but Kessel, is that his name? Kessel, Pebble guy,
Kiesel.
Kessel. I think he could appear. I mean, he didn't seem to be that old, so maybe the same age as Eisen. No, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell. It's somewhat hard to
Right.
tell because black and white, so can't tell if it's super old. But his face didn't look wrinkly or anything. He looked healthy to me.
Right.
So
He was over
I
100
think could
though.
be. Oh, he did say that. Oh, did I
They did
miss
say
that?
that. But for a dwarf, well, because I think Eisen is over 200 in present day. And actually, yeah, I guess that would mean that they
Yeah.
are
So
roughly
they
the
are the
same
same
age.
age.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
around the same age. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that why couldn't they end up meeting up with him again in a future chapter? I think it'd be pretty fun.
I like that. I would like to meet this guy again. He's cool.
Maybe we get a pretty cool axe or something
Uh,
for Stark. Yeah.
yeah, that would be epic.
Yeah. So that's all that I have. Great volume.
Yay. It was. It's also, I think, one of my favorite cover artworks for a Frieren volume so far.
Yeah,
It
that is pretty
It's
nice.
up there. Then, who was your star of this volume out of the characters?
Yeah. My star was, I think it has to be Frieren. Surprise, surprise. But I think it's because we see her growth and how she works as a team with the members, and it's just so nice to be able to see the changes that she's made in her life, or you know, understanding more about herself and humans, to having that in the heroes party. I think is what makes her the MVP. Plus everything she had to do in order to keep the uh the present day magic in the present and not bring it to the past.
Yeah, right. uh, yeah, that is a great pick. Possibly the best pick. I think logically I should pick Frieren, but my emotions are are telling me to pick someone that is maybe strange to pick as my star of this volume,
Yeah,
and it's
I
Eisen.
had the same feeling. Oh, wait, what?
Yes, seriously. I I
Whoa!
just really dug Eisen's just I don't know, just getting to like a whole volume where Eisen was basically constantly around, just being Eisen was really fun for me.
You didn't have any notes on him.
I know. But I just really liked just seeing that guy
All right,
being
I
himself
mean,
and like
yeah,
cuz
he
he's
was.
kind of like a low key
Yeah,
character, but like his lines and the way that he fights, like I don't know, he
yeah,
is really neat.
yeah. I definitely like him. He's a great character for sure, and he had a lot of good moments in this, particularly within you know fighting and kind of bailing everybody out. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But like to be fair though, like I think out of the four members of the Heroes Party, he is probably like in this volume the least important on like a technical level, like for like story and emotion and whatnot.
backstory. Yeah.
Uh, but there was just a lot of other like things about him that's appealing to me right now, so I had to pick him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely went with the safe route, but I'm with you. I going into this, I wanted to pick someone different, but I just had to go with Frieren. I just think she was hands down the MVP. But I don't think your pick is bad. It's good.
Awesome, thank you. Well, do you have any final words you want to share before we close off this episode?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see where we go from here. I don't really expect there to be much more to this arc, although, listeners beware, I was definitely wrong before. But I feel like we've reached the climax. And I will say I'm super curious to see how this wedding dream ends up going down.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very, very cool if it ended up being Friren's dream instead. But I don't have high hopes for that. Uh, it would just kind of make my shipping heart squeal. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think that'd be a couple chapters, and then or maybe half, but we'll get back to the present day and resume the journey.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm gonna probably say about half a volume of the next volume will end this arc.
Yeah.
Although I think could be nice if it would be like the entire volume. It could be fun.
Yeah.
If
it could be.
If they find a way to make that work. Maybe we'll spend several chapters in the dreams.
Wow.
I don't know.
It's like Inception.
Yeah. It'll be very fun. Can't wait for volume 13.
Yep.
Very well. If you listeners enjoy our podcast, please share it with your friends. You'll find links to our social media in the description, and you can support us by rating our show on the podcast platforms and subscribing to our channel Umami Manga on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about volume 13. Bye.
See you later.
This was our 151st episode of Umami Manga.
Oh, it's our Pokemon, our Gen 1.
Exactly. I was thinking if this was instead a Pokemon podcast where we talked about one of the Pokemon in each episode in Pokedex order, we would have just finished Generation 1. This was the Mew episode.